where do you sit with Virginia Giuffre in totality here?
Yeah, I believe her when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein. But to this new theory, Piers, that your guest is promulgating, yeah, and the moon landing was staged, and the Hunter Biden laptop is a fake. Come on. That photo had to be examined by newsrooms and lawyers up and down before it would ever be published.
That's the panel on Piers Morgan Uncensored debating the suspicious death of Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew's most famous accuser. And while I think that predators like Prince Andrew and bullies like Lady Victoria Harvey, who's on the panel, contributed to it, I think Virginia took her own life. But I'm open to changing my mind. So in today's video, let's continue watching this episode and see what facts they present. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation. So if that's your thing, hit subscribe. For early access, exclusive videos, and other cool perks, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description. If you're not aware, this is my third video analyzing this episode of Piers Morgan, and so far we haven't seen much concrete evidence one way or the other. So if you missed parts 1 and 2, I'll link them at the end. But don't worry, you haven't missed too much.
Let me bring in the others. Maureen Callahan, what's your reaction to this? I mean, this is a story that is, because of the nature of Virginia Giuffre's tragic suicide, this is not going to go away, the speculation around all this. Do you believe Virginia Giuffre? I mean, her own testimony against other men was questioned. You know, Alan Dershowitz, the American lawyer, challenged her and got her to admit that she was mistaken in identifying him as one of the people that abused her, which seems not irrelevant to all this. But where do you sit with Virginia Giuffre in totality here?
Yeah, I believe her when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein. That was an incredibly rich, powerful, connected man who could have had her harmed. So the danger to her far outweighed, you know, the price of staying quiet. But to this new theory, Piers, that your guest is promulgating, yeah, and the moon landing was staged, and the Hunter Biden laptop is a fake. Come on. That photo had to be examined by newsrooms and lawyers up and down before it would ever be published. Secondly, to this amateur photo and video that's been taken, do we know if the house has ever been renovated? Do we know the exact height?
This is all the same. This is an original scale. None of this is changed.
Let Maureen finish.
Yeah.
You would have to know the exact dimensions of each person's body. We don't know what kind of camera was used. We don't know what kind of lens was used. We don't know the lighting. There are a million, please, would you? There are a million variables that go into something like that. It is a very heavy lift. And by the way, if this theory really has legs, if it's true, I don't understand why Prince Andrew isn't hopping on the phone right now with you.
He's not going to be saying anything.
Right, but it does beg the question, why wouldn't he? I mean,
because he got screwed last time.
Just in case you're lost, what they're debating here is some supposed evidence that Lady Victoria Harvey presented earlier in the episode that the famous photo of Prince Andrew and Virginia Giuffre was a fake. I've put it on your screen if you want to see it, but as I said in that episode, it's much ado about nothing. Even if it were fake, that doesn't prove he didn't abuse her. And even if it were real, it doesn't prove he abused her. It's just him and her standing in a doorway. One of the most common questions I got on my last 2 videos was, why is Lady Victoria Harvey so adamant about protecting Prince Andrew? Is she getting paid? Is she protecting him to protect herself because she's complicit? Those might be true, but at this point, I think that she's either just a sadist or it's cognitive dissonance, which is something I've talked about a bunch on the channel. And the gist is, if you bully someone or mock them in public even once, it's in your interest to convince yourself that they deserved it. And I think that explains Lady Harvey's actions. She publicly treated Virginia like a punching bag, and now that Virginia has taken her own life, Lady Harvey has to convince herself that Virginia deserved all the torment she got for decades.
Okay, let me bring in Spencer Kubin. You've represented 9 of Epstein's victims. What's your reaction to what we've been shown here tonight?
You know, it's truly sad. Miss Harvey is just one of the other aristocratic enablers that Andrew has been touting out to speak for him because he's too afraid to speak out on his own. And he's too afraid to speak out on his own because he's guilty. And that's the problem. He paid because he knew that there was evidence that he was not only in the photograph, but he was also on Jeffrey Epstein's private island. How about that? Where's the proof that he wasn't on the private island with naked women, young girls, Where's the proof that he wasn't in the Manhattan home with one of my clients for a party at that home after Jeffrey Epstein had already been, admittedly, a pedophile and caught and placed in jail? Where is that evidence?
I think we need to remember the things that Virginia put in her original little book, and then she said, oh, they're not true. So remember Virginia's story about the ranch with Andrew. She went into explicit detail talking about going horse riding. The thing about Virginia, it's not like a small story, it's a very elaborate story. And then she basically admitted under oath that actually she made that up. So
look, I know that you want to defend your royal friend. I get that, but the reality
I'm bringing out the truth.
He was around a pedophile who was raping young girls, and regardless of whether or not the photo was fake or not, he has a bad choice in friends.
Yeah, but it's
very bad.
It's not regardless if the photo is real or not, because that's the only thing that they've trying to pin on him. Like,
no, it's not.
He was in
FBI
the
had
house.
evidence.
He stayed with Epstein for ages.
Doesn't mean it.
He stayed with him for 4 days in Manhattan with a lot of women coming and going. After,
those pictures.
Wait a minute. After Epstein was a convicted paedophile, as Spencer just said, right? Years afterwards. So he was a convicted paedophile, and Prince Andrew, for reasons that remain completely inexplicable, and which he couldn't explain to Emily Maitlis in that infamous Newsnight interview for the BBC, he flew to New York. He was seen in Central Park,
that was such a
walking with his mate. He spent 4 days at Epstein's house.
No, I believe
women were seen coming and going the entire time, and he knew by then that his great buddy was a convicted paedophile.
By the way, so those photos of the girls coming out the house, now, they didn't come out for many, many years, so I don't even believe they were during that time.
Do you believe anything that incriminates Andrew or not?
A lot of the girls did not tell the truth.
Who is the great conspirator? Who's organising this conspiracy of yours?
It's the intelligence 3-letter word agencies that are wrapped up in this that I'm not going to go into right now because I would rather stay alive. But what I'm saying is, Victoria, do you not have any qualms about Virginia's family?
Just like that debate about whether or not the photo of Virginia and Prince Andrew was real or not, the debate about whether or not she was an angel or a pathological liar is also totally irrelevant. This sort of binary thinking or false dichotomy is something I see all the time in my videos about Me Too accusers. As if me saying that the accuser's a hoaxer makes the person that they're accusing an angel. Or if I say that I think the guy being accused is guilty, then I'm saying that the person accusing him is an angel. That's not the case. They can both be terrible people. One of my most popular videos in that playlist is actually an instance of that. So this panel debate itself doesn't really concern me, but what I do find interesting is how Lady Harvey is clutching at straws to find reasons to hate Virginia. And once again, I think that's because of cognitive dissonance. And since we saw the teaser and we know that Virginia's father is going to join the panel, and it's pretty obvious that Piers is teeing that up, here's my prediction. That the more Virginia's father humanizes her and makes her sympathetic, the more cognitive dissonance Lady Harvey is going to feel, so the more cruel and belittling she's going to become.
Victoria, do you not have any qualms about Virginia's family hearing you just dismiss everything about her as
I think
fake
Robert
and fraudulent?
Giuffre would agree with me.
What about her father, for example?
She was estranged from her mother and her father. She didn't.
Well, she wasn't
speak to the
estranged from
father.
them.
She was. She's earned 30 million, right? That is what she's worth. Her father, he came out a month ago saying he's basically on the dole, and he couldn't even afford a flight to Australia to see.
Why would you say that in such a disparaging manner, if that's the case?
It's very sad. It's very sad that obviously, she didn't help the family, right? I mean, this father sounded desperate.
Well, look, we can clear this up because I'm going to be joined now exclusively by Virginia Giuffre's father, Sky Roberts, who's giving his first
supported him.
Who's giving his first interview on camera about this. Mr. Roberts, thank you very much indeed for joining me on Uncensored, and my deepest sympathies to you and your entire family over what has happened to Virginia.
Thank you.
It's an awful tragedy, and it ends a life of tragedy in many ways for your daughter. First of all, tell me about your reaction when you heard that she'd taken her life.
Well, first of all, I couldn't even believe it. I mean, I started crying right away. I'm still crying. I can't believe that this is happening. It's impossible. And then for them to say that she committed suicide, there's no way that she did. Somebody got to her.
Let me just ask you, Mr. Roberts, how much contact did you have with Virginia in recent years?
Not a lot. I haven't spoke to her in years, but I think that she basically liked to try to protect me because of she knew a lot of things about a lot of powerful people. And to me, she's just protecting me that I don't get involved in any of it. Like I say, when she was here, we were together all the time and doing a lot of things together. She was on her own to go against Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, Prince Andrew. She was on her own this whole time. You know, I'm not saying it's a way to earn money or anything, but she's just trying to make these people pay for what they did.
Did she ever talk to you about Prince Andrew before it became public knowledge?
Yes.
Yes, a little. Yeah, she was there in London with Prince Andrew and Miss Maxwell.
Because one of my other guests here in the studio in London has produced photographs from the property where that infamous picture was taken of Virginia with Prince Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell in the background, and says that it proves to her
Like you can't
that the picture must have been faked in some way. But do you have any doubt that Virginia was there at the time and had sex with Prince Andrew?
Personally, I don't have proof of it, but Virginia sent the original picture, so I know it wasn't faked, but the original picture of Prince Andrew and her with Ghislaine Maxwell in the background. So I know that's true that she was there with him.
She showed you that picture, did you say?
Yes. My mom had an 8x10.
And when did she first show you that?
Many years ago when it happened.
But before it became public knowledge?
Yes. I knew nothing about it. I mean, I didn't even know she was, doing all these things for Jeffrey Epstein.
We haven't seen Lady Hervey's reaction to this yet, but I'm glad I brought up cognitive dissonance earlier when I was talking about her, because it applies to Virginia's dad too. What father wants to believe that he failed to protect his daughter to such a degree that she was abused and harassed for decades and ultimately took her own life because she just couldn't take it anymore? It's much easier to tell yourself that some evil, nefarious organization took her out because she was so important. For now, I want to wrap up with this, the other concept I brought up in this video, binary thinking. Just because I don't like Lady Hervey doesn't mean I like this guy and I'm going to put him up on a pedestal. He contradicted himself quite a few times there. And if you want a part 4, let me know by liking, commenting, and sharing. Until next time, stay true.